Well, here we are, another episode of Frosty Dinghy. The greatest wife in the world is up in Lamar's at a wrestling tournament today with my daughter all day, who's the wrestling manager. So it is me and the other two, and I don't know. We're going to figure out something to do. I don't know, do something maybe.
Lamar's has great ice cream. Just saying.
Yeah, it's just all right, dog.
It's better than anything else that's ice cream that's made in Iowa.
Well, that's true. Actually, it is good ice cream. I'll give them that. I'll give them that. It really is. So
And
I
we are
think that
not sponsored by them.
No, I think they got bought out by AE or something, didn't they?
I
Or
don't know.
Land
I don't pay
O'Lakes or
that
some
much
shit.
attention.
I don't
Well,
think they
they do like butter.
I don't think they actually I don't think it's the same old plant. I think it might has the same name, but I could be wrong. Who knows? I'm sure people up there could tell us.
I'm sure I could call Casey and find out if you want to talk to him today.
It's been a while. I mean, we occasionally will message each other on the Facebook Messenger to say hi and see if we're still each other alive. But that's the amount of guy friendship I usually have with people. Hey, you alive? Yep, doing well. All right, good. Talk to you
That's
later.
how we've done it for years until we
Yeah,
started this face-to-face interaction thing we got going on.
indeed.
So I figured we'd let you go ahead and get this out of the way real quick. And how do you feel about your favorite dumpster fire's new coach hire?
Well, so I guess my thought is honestly, dude's 64 years old. So what? At best, he's maybe got 5, 6 years left in him. Giants got Giants have a solid offensive nucleus of young people, right? Jackson Dart and the receiver got hurt. I don't even want to talk about his name because he was on my fantasy football team this year, which I still ended up winning.
Don't forget Scattaboo.
Yeah, who's also dislocated and broke an ankle or whatever it was. So that was brutal. So I don't think it's a long-term answer just because dude's 64. That said, maybe he finds the person who it will be his associate head coach and they have the next guy waiting. I think that's got to be part of the plan because otherwise, you know, regardless, you think maybe you have a 6 years with this guy. And then what? You're starting over or you're seceding, and you got to figure that out from today if that's who you're going to hire. That's my thought.
See, I look at it where they have to win this year, and he's got the best shot of getting them to the win column, to be honest. I mean, NFL teams don't think long term. They want immediate results, win now, or you're gone, and I'll find somebody who will.
I mean, they're in a vision that they could technically win next year, I guess, because the NFC East isn't that good. You got the Eagles, which are going downhill, seems kind of quickly. The
And
Reds get
the most average running back in the NFL.
he was above average, but that's fine. Um, you got the Commanders who, when their quarterback are hurt, that became a fucking wreck real quick. That just got rid of both of their coordinators, so you just have the head coach back. Um, who else am I missing? Oh, the Cowboys, which I don't know what the fuck to think about the Cowboys. They're the fucking Cowboys.
One game they show up, next game they don't.
Jerry needs to go ahead and let someone else take over. Stay the owner, obviously, but actually hire a football guy to take care of the shit. I think that's been
You
their
mean his
biggest
kid
downfall.
isn't doing a good job?
They need an actual football guy to come in and take care of it. So I will say this: of all of our preseason talk, I totally nailed the Mike Tomlin being done after this year. I called that for
Yeah.
preseason. I'm like, this is it for Tomlin. He's going for it all right here this year when he could, and they did the best they could. But they're an average team that needs rebuilt. They're old and they're slow, and so I'm just going to go ahead and call it. I nailed that one.
So, what does the best season look for our friendly golf guy down in Oski? What's he got to look forward to next year?
Well, so I mean, if you look at it over the last 60 years, the Steelers have had 3 coaches. Every one of them that they have hired has been a defensive coach under the age of 40, right? Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin. Of all the people so far that they've requested interviews with, there's only been one offensive guy. Um, I think Halfley, probably out of Green Bay, would be a solid choice. To me, he's the leader in the clubhouse in Pittsburgh.
So are they going to do they have any pieces left that need to stick around, or do they just need to do a fire sale and bring in new talent?
Well, I don't think you could really trade off Watt because of his contract. I'm not exactly sure what that would do to their salary cap this next year if they traded him off. Cam's what, 37? Cam Hayward? I think he's 36 or 37. He's getting up there in age. The good thing for them is they don't have a big quarterback contract right now. They paid Aaron Rodgers the 1 year deal. So it's not like they got 50, $60 million that is tied up in a quarterback. So it gives you the opportunity in that case to go get some transitional pieces, specifically some offensive line, I would say, and some weapons. And so you can bring in a younger quarterback and maybe go back and compete. You look at Mac Jones, who's the backup in San Francisco, has played really well this year. He's got he was a first round draft pick. Everything's the pedigree is there. It's the same kind of story that we had with Sam Darnold, right? Same kind of story we had with Indiana Jones until he got hurt. First round talent, the first team gave up on him. Maybe the second team gave up on him. But the talent's there. They just got to get it put together. So, if they can make a deal for maybe Mac Jones, who still has another year, I believe, on his contract in San Francisco, San Francisco is going to come out looking genius on this. Mac Jones came in and basically saved their season. Why Purdy was out with the turf toe,
Yeah.
kept him in it, and then they're going to be able to probably trade him for, I would say, a second or third round pick when they brought him in as a free agent, basically almost at the league minimum. Really, that was a solid play on San Francisco's part. So yeah, if I'm Pittsburgh, that's what I'm looking to do. I'm trying to figure out a
Yes.
way to trade to get Mac Jones.
You think Mac Jones is the fit instead of trying to trade up and pick up somebody in the draft?
I don't think they
Or
have
or
enough.
why not trade with Cleveland?
Yeah, that'll fucking happen. The last time we fucking traded within the division, I think, especially for the draft, the Ravens took Terrell Suggs and the Browns took the grandma raper.
Yeah, I'm just saying, why don't they trade for one of the Browns quarterbacks?
Well, so here's where we're looking at. Let's be honest. So the taint tickler himself, Deshaun Watson, probably be healthy this next year coming back in. Um, I I think, in my opinion, they have to probably either trade either Gabriel or Shador. Um, you could keep them both on the roster, that's fine, but you don't really want to. So I
That's
I think
one of
I
them's got
think
to go.
I think in my opinion, Shador showed the higher ceiling as far as what he could do over Dylan Gabriel. I think Dylan Gabriel has the higher floor. I think he could be a solid backup. I think you could put him in for a few games to finish a game and he could give you a chance. I don't think he's the guy that's going to lead you to the promised land. I don't think he has that in him. That's not saying he couldn't improve, but what I saw those 7 games he played this year, I did not see it. Uh, I thought he kind of had a weakish arm. Even, I look at that one, he had a couple touchdown passes that were frankly just underthrown, and luckily the wide receiver was able to come back and get it. Uh, he did. I didn't think he did a very good job leading receivers. He didn't make passes that receivers could catch the ball and run or turn and run. They were constantly having to slow down to get it or stop and get it or turn and get it. Um, Now, I'm not going to say Shador was a master at that, but I think he had more of those throws than Dylan did. I think, like I said, I think Shador gives a higher upside to Dylan. So if I'm Cleveland and I'm stuck with Deshaun Watson, I got no choice but to keep Deshaun Watson this year. Then, like we've talked about, I'm either keeping Gabriel or I'm keeping Shador, and I'm going 1987 Cubs, and I'm deciding which one of my first basemen I want to keep. Do I want to keep Mark Grace or do I want to keep Rafael Palmeiro? Because I got two guys, both of them potential Hall of Famers. If Rafi didn't juice up and get caught, but I mean, legit, before he got caught, the guy was a potential Hall of Famer. And that's kind of the decision the Browns have to go with here. We got to give up one of these two guys because it doesn't do us any good to keep both of them. It hurts us if we keep both. If we keep one and move the other one on, get something for them, if you can get a fifth for either one of them, then honestly, you got Shador's draft pick back,
Yep.
and he was drafted for free. Because you look at the rest of that draft class, the rest of that draft class was fucking spectacular. Honestly, I think it was kind of garbage that the linebacker did not get All Pro uh, status this year because he was a stud.
So do you honestly think that if Watson comes back, that Shador's going to be okay with going back to second string and not causing problems in the locker room or not have his dad all up in everybody's business all day?
I I
I mean,
think I think if when Deshaun comes back, Shador's options, if the Browns keep him, is either beat Deshaun out for the job or sit his ass on the bench and be the backup. But let's be honest. I mean, we're trying to compare a kid who's what, 22 years old, started the last 8 games, I think, for Cleveland. Didn't play bad. Wasn't spectacular, wasn't bad. And we're comparing him to Sean Watson, who's played what, 19 games in the last 4 years. Like, we're not talking about Deshaun Watson from 2017 or 2018. We're not. We're talking about a Deshaun Watson that is. I've played as much NFL quarterback this last year as he has in games. So, Deshaun can take it as a challenge and be like, hey, I can beat this guy out and prove I deserve it. Or he can be the backup, or he can be traded or released if he really throws a fit. But I don't, beans, it took till the fifth round for someone to want him anyways. I think if you go and you throw a fit and the Browns cut you because you're acting like a baby, I don't know if you get another chance.
but that's what I'm saying though. Is he going to become a locker room issue if he's put at number 2?
If he's smart, no.
I'm not comparing anybody to anybody. I'm just saying, is it going to be a problem?
Like I said, if he's smart, if he wants to stay in the league, then he doesn't become a problem because he came in with the black mark or whatever the hell you want to call on him. He dropped to the fifth round for a reason. It's because
It's because of his attitude.
teams didn't want to believe him. I'm not going to go with his attitude. I heard he had some really bad interviews while his dad was fighting cancer. And some really bad, he had all the online media social presence. I mean, let's
Yeah,
be
'cause
honest.
that's a problem.
It is because you look overall at the NFL, they don't know how to react right now. The NFL doesn't know how to judge people because of all the changes that have happened in the college football. So you have a boisterous quarterback who had his YouTube channel or whatever the fuck it was, and he's the son of a Hall of Famer who was maybe one of the best talkers ever in the league. You know what I mean? Like, he had a lot going
Like
against him.
95% of the NFL have their own YouTube channels and an online presence that the owners don't agree with.
There's
What's
your
one more?
That's the point, though, Kobe. We're talking about quarterbacks. Wide receivers, cornerbacks, safeties, they're allowed to be divas. They're allowed to be loud and eccentric and annoying. Quarterbacks are supposed to be the leader of the franchise. That's what they want. They want quarterbacks to be the guys that come in and they're there for all hours of the day, competing with the coaches as far as their time at the fucking facility was. And from everything I heard this year, Shador was that guy. He was one of those guys. He was one of the first earliest guys in the facility every morning, and one of the guys that stayed to the latest. He was wanting to learn. He was wanting to improve. So, like I said, if he has a fuss and throws like a hissy fit and says I won't be the backup, trade me. My guess is he's done. This is a point where you got to either be an adult or you're probably going to be out of the league.
So, how do you feel about the Browns turning down an interview with his daddy?
That's fine. There's such a difference in today's college to NFL game. I haven't really heard of any college coaches really getting NFL request, honestly. It's such a different game that I don't know if people can go from one to the other as successfully as they used to. I just because to be a college NFL head coach, you're just basically you're a marketer. I mean, I don't even know how much coaching the head coaches do anymore because all you're doing is kissing these guys' asses and trying to get them money so they come. You know, you look at Dylan Raiola, leaves Nebraska, enters the portal, and decides to go to Oregon. Oregon's head quarterback decides, I think I'm going to stick another year in college. What's Dylan Raiola do? He done and re-entered the portal. So he was at Oregon for 2 days. I mean, the college football is
Yeah.
a fucking mess, and that's the problem. So I think coaches, I think if you're choosing to start at college, if I don't know if we're going to see very many college head coaches becoming NFL head coaches. I think we'll see college head coaches becoming coordinators first because I think they need to learn how to coach again because they don't coach.
So I sent you a talk earlier this week that kind of funnels right into the college football for you. What is your take on the kids that are stuck in the portal now that have no home because they entered the portal on false pretenses and their college career's basically over and they're going to get stuck in a small school somewhere, if anywhere?
Well, that's kind of the shits of it all, isn't it? I mean, that's it's kind of the fuck around and find out situation, I guess you'd say. And I feel bad for the kids because if they're listening to other people, that's their bad. I mean, we all know there's no agents in college football, but the college
All
football
it takes is
system's
a little agent symbol next to your name.
yeah, the college football system's so fucking broke right now that it's really bad. And so you have all these kids that, entered the portal thinking, oh, I'm going to get paid. I'm going to go to a new school, blah, 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 blah. Everybody just wants the instant gratification. They don't want to work for shit. I heard a stat the other day. So do you know how the average playing time or average college uh, experience for the Indiana team is this year?
Experience is how?
How many years they've been in college on average?
Oh, that kind of experience. 2 years.
The average experience for college for Indiana University football this year is 4.3 years. They have more fifth year seniors than anybody ever. They have 6 year seniors because they're still kids under the COVID rules. So this
Which is
this
ridiculous as well.
well, I'm COVID was such a fucked up time. If you want to give those kids an extra year after all that, I don't care about that. But that's where we're at. So Indiana came in and they're playing with 22 and 23-year-olds against 18 and 19-year-olds. And these 18 and 19-year-olds might be physical specimens for 18 and 19-year-olds, but everybody knows there's a difference between an 18-year-old and a 22-year-old and a 23-year-old. That's why the NFL requires 3 years of fucking college before you can enter the draft because they don't want 19-year-olds who aren't even close to being done developing yet, going up there and getting destroyed,
Yeah.
which that's what would happen. So, like I said, you have
I agree.
Indiana. So you have Indiana, whose average age is like 22 something, going against these teams that are 19, maybe 20 on average. They got an older team, and that's all due to the portal. And maybe that's the brilliant part Indiana's done. They're like, they found all these kids that have spent time and they're looking for a fifth year just to extend their college days because they don't have anything else to do. Yeah, you maybe aren't as physically talented as some of these other teams, but you're going to be stronger and you're going to be wiser at 22 and 23 than you are 18 and 19.
Well, I'd wholeheartedly agree. I mean, if the opportunity's there, why wouldn't you take advantage of it if you were a team? So I can't fault Indiana at all for that. It sounds like they knew what they were doing, but that also kind of screws them for the next season because after you
Well,
get all of those guys dumped out, then you got to go back to the portal and reload.
but we just talked about there's 10,000 players out there in the portal right now that don't know what they're going to do, you
Yep.
know?
But the reason those people are still in the portal, there's probably is because they shouldn't be in the portal.
Well, maybe,
All the
but
ones that went into the portal with an opportunity are already off the market.
yeah, but that's where you're grabbing. This is like the cheap NFL free agency. The first days all the high dollar people that, yeah, they might make a great impact, but you don't really build your team off the first day free agents. You build your team off the individuals that you can get 6, 7 guys of and build a solid foundation. Um, so there's still, like I said, there's still 10,000 guys in the portal right now. that won a school. Indiana is about to lose 62 guys off their fucking roster or some bullshit due to graduations being out of eligibility. There's a lot of spots going to be open for the guys, and they'll have their choice of the older guys that maybe weren't given the opportunities they thought they would get. But you look and you say, these guys had the physical talent 3 years ago to be 4 or 5 star recruits. They got put in a situation, they got hurt. Now they're here. There's always potential. I'm not saying it's the winning combination because college football's fucked. It's destroyed anyways. So who cares? But
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Hold on, I'm looking up something real quick.
well, while you're looking that up, have you seen my dream guests are back in America right now? Jason Josh are in Michigan right
You
now
bet.
after 8 months of being stuck over in Britain or Wales or wherever the fuck they're from, the UK. They're back in America. Josh, Jace, welcome back. I've enjoyed the TikToks of you freezing your asses off in Michigan. A lot of good
But
times
British
there. It
winters
looks
are
like.
worse.
Yeah, no, even they admit that's not true.
Yeah. No, I think it's funny watching people say that shit when they haven't been to Alaska.
You don't know. You know what? I'm sure Alaska's plenty bad, but you look at the UP, North Dakota, fucking Montana, northern Minnesota, where there's North Dakota, there's fucking nothing up there. I remember going up there once in
Yeah.
like college and like driving on the Interstate 29, and I swear to God, there was an exit and a sign for the one tree that's in North Dakota.
Was it on a hill? Did you meet it like Sophia Bush?
So anyways, yeah. So welcome back to America.
Oh, shit.
The people I'd love to have on here and have a conversation with because I think you'd be a blast.
And please leave your beans and toast where they're at. We don't need them here.
That's
Just saying.
just fucking gross.
No beans and toast.
No. Although if I had my choice between beans and toast and fucking Casey's Pizza, I might just starve.
No, I think Casey Pizza is still right up there in the top ranks of Iowa food, sir.
Yeah,
Even without your hack. I swear to God, it's just your Casey's. They don't like you.
If you did not like Southern Texas, I would think you just hate life. Like, you just hate things that everybody else enjoys. You hate Will Ferrell. You like shitty stuff like Casey's Pizza. I think you have a hole in your heart, Kobe, for shit.
I don't know. You can't really say that with what I'm doing today. I'm just saying. Today is when everybody decided we're going out for my birthday, for the old birthday dinner. And it kind of got hijacked, and now I'm going to sushi and hibachi. So,
I do like a hibachi. I think it's for what you pay. I don't know if it's really worth it, but it is some pretty solid food. And I do love some sake. Oh, I like sake. Sake.
I
Sake
pulled the
to me,
Texas
baby.
move. I pulled the Texas move. So last time we were in Texas, operation manager Scott, who is doing horrible at his job, I must tell you,
He's terrible.
Not operationally managing anything at the moment.
No one has been more terrible at being an operation manager than Scott.
He's on a cruise. How is that helping us?
Worthless.
I know. He can't find good help these days. But we went down there, and him and his wife took us to an all-you-can-eat sushi place, to where you get a menu, you order it, and they just bring you whatever you want as many times as you order. So I'm like, if I'm going to a sushi place, I'm going to find one of those. And that's what I did. Apparently, there's one in West Des Moines. We're going to go there, and I'm going to order my sushi. The only thing is, if you order more than you can eat, they charge you for waste.
That's fair.
So if you order a bunch of shit and you don't eat it all, I'm like, I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, just give me my box.
Well, I can see why they don't want to do that. But what if you like get one, you're like, hey, I want to try this. And then you're just like, this is fucking gross. Can they just bring out a piece? And if you don't like it, that way you don't order the whole roll? Because if
I
I'm
will
going
tell
to
you next week.
Okay, fair. Yeah, because if I'm going to go to a sushi buffet, I want to try shit. I don't want to just get, the dragon roll, which I do enjoy, and like, I don't know, some other bullshit roll.
Well, they don't bring it out like that. They don't bring it out in the super huge rolls. They bring you out like 4 pieces.
Okay. So you could say, hey, I want to have one piece of this just as like a trial, maybe.
They might do that. We will find out.
We'll
But
find
the
out.
one in Texas anyway, you order and you get 4 pieces of whatever you order. You don't get a foot-long roll of it that you have to eat. You get
Well, and
enough to
that's
share
fair.
with whoever you're with.
That's fair. Like I said, if I'm
So if
going to like
everybody orders something different, everybody gets a bite. So
yeah, except if I'm going to a sushi bar, I want to try different shit, you know? And unfortunately, I might not like something. It's, it could be the Casey's Pizza sushi.
So they have a place in Ankeny. It's a Chinese buffet, which is fine. I mean, it's Chinese buffet. You're not going to get super top level dishes at any buffet. I mean, it's going to be good. It's going to be enough that you go back, but they have a section where the sushi's pre-made and you grab it by the pieces. I'm not a fan of that kind because it's kind of like rolling the dice at a gas station if you're buying sushi because you don't know how long it's been sitting there or how many people have picked over it. So I like the ordering it and they bring you some after they make it right in front of you. I mean, I like that style better.
And that's fair. But I mean, like, I think about High V, like, they have their little sushi, like, platters that are sitting out. And Sam's Club has a sushi cooler. And, it says it's made fresh there, but is it fresh today or fresh yesterday or Subway fresh, pre cut? I don't know.
So the girlfriend tried getting one of the Sam's Club sushi platters the other day, and that's how my birthday got hijacked. But apparently, it has like a 4.9 rating and it's got a bunch of good reviews, and it's a super huge fucking platter that they make and then they deliver it. But they wouldn't deliver it to her because we're too far away. So they couldn't
Well,
guarantee its freshness. So I understand that, but that's how the birthday got hijacked and how I'm
you
ending
know,
up at a
it,
sushi restaurant.
it's really too bad that someone doesn't work that was in a spot that's probably close enough to get delivery.
Like me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
I
could
mean,
probably
and
get it delivered to work and then I'd have to fight everybody over it for the rest of the day.
I know you are working on the east side of Des Moines is, a beautiful land of intelligent people,
Hey,
but
we got the big cows. I don't want to hear you don't talk shit about the big cows at the AE plant.
yeah. I'm just saying, if you've been to one East Side night at the Iowa State Fair, you never have to go back again if you're not from the East Side. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. You definitely find a different realm of people on East Side night. I don't go to the fair unless I absolutely have to anyway, but it lost its appeal about the time I turned 16 and didn't have to go anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know. State fairs.
I'm not a real big fan of it either. I don't know. I'm not into animals. I mean, I don't have a problem with animals. I just like them cut up and cooked properly.
And they really don't let you do that at the fair. As much as they say
No.
they have the best food, if you take your knife into the livestock barn, they get mad.
Yeah, it's all I want to do is have my steak the way I want it
I don't get
served.
it.
I saw the app had another update this week. I had to do or once or twice. Personally, I got afraid for a second. I thought maybe the Casey's police were after me.
They should be with the amount of shit you talk about them. I mean, you
Well,
like eating every other meal in your life almost raw, but you get one pizza that's
you
cooked
know,
the way that you like everything else and you bitch about it.
dough shouldn't be served raw. That's wrong.
I think it's somewhat cooked.
Barely, maybe.
Yeah, Jerry and I almost called your Casey's to have a talk with them in the last episode to see if we could get your undercooking fixed. And then we decided that they must just have a special West menu that every time that your name pops up, they're like, nope, new guidelines.
Let's undercook this motherfucker. He likes the raw dough.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't order that one rare back in college. But no, the sushi should be entertaining. I told them afterwards we're going to go somewhere and I'm going to sit there and drink beer and watch football all day. So
Sounds like
I
a
do
bowling
have
alley.
maybe. You never know. They can go bowl and I'll sit there and see if I can fall off my stool by the end of the day. So yesterday we had a company appreciation thing for work, and that was our day of work. We got dressed up and went to the event at
That's awesome.
the Hy-Vee Fieldhouse, I believe,
Okay, yeah.
which is where the Bucks play now in the interim or whatever. I don't know if they're still building their building or what, but I will say that we got done with the opening part and then they gave us an hour of team building, which is go on the other side of the curtain and you can play bags, some frisbee game, mini putt golf, and basketball.
Nice.
We are not athletes. Not anymore. None of us. Jerry and I ran the bags board, but basketball was just ridiculous. The amount of effort it takes to get the ball up there when you haven't shot a basketball in probably 15 years.
Well,
It was
and
a little eye opening that you might have to practice every now and then to still be good at stuff.
I would like to know when personally they raised the basket from 10 foot to 12 foot.
I really never saw that memo.
But it seems like I got to chuck it up there a lot harder than I used to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, apparently I have developed a bank shot for everything I shoot now. It doesn't matter if I'm straight sideways with the basket. I'm going to put it off the glass to make it now. I can't find the center of the hole anymore. It's got to come off of other apparatuses
That's
or
what she
other
says.
people. Yeah, usually. Yeah, she don't care how it gets there as long as it ends up there. Might have to stop and ask directions every now and then. And I will tell you that Google Maps is no help.
Remember in Beetlejuice, the big neon sign, girls, girls, girls? I think that might have been.
Well, that's fucking great. I'm going to have to edit all that out. But, oh, well. So, going back to whatever the hell we were talking about, I have not paid attention to college football at all since the playoffs started. So I had to actually look up and find out who's in the championship game on Monday.
Indiana and the U, baby.
Yeah, yeah. And who do you think's pulling that one off?
I don't know how anybody beats Indiana. Like we kind of talked about earlier, when you got 22 and 23-year-olds playing against 18 and 19-year-olds, it's kind of one of those advantages that you get.
So that means I need to put my money on Miami because you picked the Hoosiers. Got it.
Are you picking against? I think I saw 10.5 on the spread. Are you picking with the spread or straight up?
I never pick spreads, dude. I pick straight up. I don't fuck around
Okay.
with the negatives. Just a second. We will pull it up and see what our odds are. I was logged in a minute ago, but apparently it decided that I waited too long. Miami is a 8.5 underdog.
I think that's better than what it was earlier this week.
Well, that puts the money line at plus 260, so we'll go ahead and throw $5 on there. There you go. It's official. I have picked Miami. Just in spite of you, sir. Just in spite of you.
So if you bet $5 and Miami wins, you get 13. Is that right?
Yep.
Is that mathing?
Yep, that's math, and you get your $5 back plus 13 on top of it. That's some quick math over there, sir.
Thank you.
You graduated. So, speaking of football, but since we're back on it, do you have after the first week, do you see anybody that's you think's just gonna walk their way to the Super Bowl this year?
No. I think every team has their strengths and has their weaknesses. Going through it, Buffalo, you got Josh Allen, which is going to always give you a chance. The rest of the team, this is his worst team he's ever played with. If they win, it's going to be on the back of Josh Allen. Honestly, I hate Denver, so fuck them. I hope they fucking get destroyed today. I don't know. I don't know if anybody I would call the favorite. I really don't. I don't think there's someone out there that I look at and think, but goddamn, they're the team to beat.
There's another rumor going on out there that Miami's head coach is looking at being the coordinator for the Eagles. What do you think about that one?
Well, he did get fired in Miami, so
Well, yeah, I get that part.
It's funny. So I heard some things this last week. And they kind of said McDaniel, why being offensively a good tactician, kind of didn't have the head coach aura about him, I guess you could say. And maybe going back to a coordinator and learning from someone who's got that aura, I guess you could say, would be a good thing for him. They said, offensively, yeah, sure, he's tactically he's great, but he didn't lead the team in a way a head coach needs to lead. So I think that makes sense. Eagles obviously looking for an offensive coordinator. Dallas is looking for an offensive coordinator. There's a couple good spots out there.
And I don't know. I think with he does make a lot of smart offensive plays. I'm not sure if he's completely well rounded at all times to be the head coach. So him going back to a coordinator is probably a good idea.
Well,
They're
and that
saying right
hap-
now that go ahead.
and and that happens. You look at Josh McDaniel with the Patriots. He got a couple chances to be head coaches, and it kind of failed miserably. But he seems to always go back to being offense coordinator, especially in New England, and doing a great job. And people want to hire him back as a head coach. And I guess you know there's something there, but there's also something missing. I think, and that could be the same case
Yeah.
with Mike McDaniel's. It doesn't mean he's a bad coach. It just means he's not. Some people are managers, some aren't. Some people are people
Yep.
managers, some aren't. And just because you're not that doesn't mean you're not a good coach.
Just because you can run a cartel doesn't mean you can run an NFL team.
That's right.
So they're also saying that your number one consideration right now is Clint Kubiak still.
Yeah, I don't know how we're going to go. I think it. I think their hope is that they can keep Schwartz as the defensive coordinator. May the Schwartz be with us. Um, and I could totally see going with another young offensive guy to go forward with, especially because in my opinion, we're either going with Shador or we're drafting a quarterback here in the next 2 years. You need a head coach that can stick around with that quarterback.
So the biggest dumpster fire of a head coach that I've seen in a long time, and he is mentioned as a potential fit for the Titans, Matt Nagy.
Yeah, the Titans it's an interesting job, they might have their quarterback there with Cam Ward, but they got a lot of pieces missing. They need a lot of work. Um, I think Matt Nagy would be a terrible fucking hire. Um,
It'd be like dumping a nuke onto an already burning place. I mean,
well, I don't know if I'd call Tennessee a burning place, but they're like I'd say they got foundation walls like formed. They don't have them poured yet, but they got to start. Um, and yeah, you're bringing in a guy who I just don't see it. Once again, I think maybe you're talking about a guy who, as a coordinator, probably does a good job, but not the leader of men that a team like that probably needs.
yeah, he pretty much torched the Bears franchise while he was there. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, they weren't the greatest to begin with, but he didn't develop a single thing while he was there other than hurt feelings and shitty football play. So,
And his wallet.
not a big fan of that guy. Huh?
And his wallet.
What was
He
that?
developed his wallet.
Yeah, he did a good job of building his own nest egg, but nobody else's. I don't know how to say his last name. Robert Sala or Sala?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So Sala was, he was the D coordinator a few years ago in San Francisco, and he got the Jets job, which
yep.
was fucking terrible. He goes in there and they drafted Zach Wilson as a rookie. And then the next year, they basically drop Zach Wilson and they bring in Aaron Rodgers. And of course, how did you expect that to go? So I think that's a situation where, unlike Nagy, I don't think you can look at Salah's last head coaching experience and judge him off that because the Jets are fucking terrible.
Yeah, and he's going to another organization. It looks like that it's exactly the same in the Oakland Faders.
Uh, I think that would be a mistake on Oakland's part. Once again, you Oakland's got the number one draft pick. They got Gentry at running back. They got some weapons. They have the chance to go draft the quarterback. I don't think a defensive guy is the way to go for the Raiders right now. I think you could go a couple ways. Maybe you try to get Mike McCarthy in there, who is a good offensive guy. He's kind of older. I don't know if I love the thought of McCarthy. I know I don't love the thought of McCarthy in Cleveland at all, but I think he would maybe make sense in Oakland because he's been around. He's won a Super Bowl. He brings immediate, uh, you know, like the walk with him. You know what I mean? He's not an up and
Yeah,
comer. He's a guy who's been there. Um,
Got a
At the
little
same
swagger.
Yeah, at the same time, maybe one of the younger guys would make sense for him, but, like, I think you gotta go offense. I think it'd be a mistake for a defensive coach to go into Oakland. I think you could take a defensive coach into Arizona. The Smurf is probably gonna be done, or your drunken toddler or whatever you like to call him.
The toddler that stole my remote.
Yeah, whatever it is, I think he's probably done. I don't think they're gonna be able in a spot to grab their quarterback that they need for future play. So maybe they spend a year or two and kind of work up a defense that will keep them in games until they can find the guy. So I could see someone like Sala being a solid play in Arizona. I don't know. Like, if the problem is with Arizona is you are not only are you looking up from the bottom of the division, you see ahead of you San Francisco, the Rams, and the Seahawks. Like, those three teams are really fucking good, as they've kind of proven here. Is three of the four final teams in the NFC are those three teams. Um, so there, that's going to be a tough job for anybody to take over. And Salah might have the testicular fortitude to stick it out and really make a play of it.
So, just hypothetically, would Arizona benefit from going out and snagging one of the younger quarterbacks like Mac Jones or Gabriel or something like that to bring in? Like, make since they can't draft one high enough, maybe trade for one that has potential that's just excess on somebody's roster?
If you're not giving up too much, sure, but I don't know. I mean, San Francisco's not going to give up Mac Jones to Arizona. They're just not. I'm trying to think. Arizona, obviously not Kyler, but they had shit, why can't I think of his name right now? He's with Cleveland, went to New England. A good quarterback. Solid. It was always a solid quarterback. I would say an excellent number two quarterback because he can come in and put up numbers. He's just not going to lead your team to playoffs. You know what I mean? Um, I so they have someone that they can play with if they can't get a quarterback in him. I fuck his name's escaping me right this second. Uh, but I think maybe that's a situation where you try to build a defense first. Defense won't win you games in the NFL. It really won't. You have to be able to score, but defense will keep you in games. Defense would give you the opportunity to win games with a half-ass offense that's playing well.
See, and that's what I'm saying. If they bring in a defensive coach and
Yeah,
then
so
they make a trade and pick up a better quarterback than what they got,
I
it might
I
sneak them into the playoffs.
I think you're hopeful with Arizona making the playoffs next year, but I mean, what is it? It's every year there's five new teams in the playoffs that or five teams that were in the playoffs the year before that don't make it the next year, something like that. Like, I'm not going to say it's
Yeah, some weird
impossible,
stat. Yeah.
but it's also one of those things that I look at and say, I just don't see Arizona doing it. You look at the teams ahead of them. San Francisco's solid. They got a quarterback. They got the weapons as long as CMC stays healthy. Seattle, they got to find a second wide receiver, second real, like a real number two wide receiver. If they do that, they're going to be fucking just blistering teams. Because right now they got JSN, and that's the majority of their offense. The Rams are you got Matthew Stafford, who's probably going to be the MVP this year, who is 39 and maybe only has a year left. Um, so I, there's potential for them to kind of fall down a bit if they don't find something after Stafford. But Arizona's got a long way ahead of them. I don't think
Or
bringing
what's
in
Stafford going to have left next year
well, Puka's still there.
after his hand injury and all that stuff?
Yeah, it's like I said, the Rams, I think they're kind of they need to start planning for Stafford's replacement. Let's be honest. He probably has a year left. I think he's 38, going to be 39 next year, which puts him, at that cusp where you're probably, really starting to go downhill. You're starting to get older. Things start to hurt more. Maybe Joe Flacco will be available for him yet, but
Maybe bring back Ryan Leaf.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. You can always get Phillip Rivers on short notice.
You know what? That was great. I
I thought it
that
was awesome.
that was
It screwed him
spectacular.
up for the
As
Hall of Fame, but it was still fun to
it
watch.
it did, but as someone who is about 2.5 days older than Philip Rivers, man, I loved it.
Yeah, I don't think we can. Either one of us are going to get called up anytime soon. So,
No,
so I went ahead and went through all the matchups for the games today and tomorrow, and I picked every one of the underdogs, every one of them,
well,
because I want to see a Bears Texans Super Bowl, and then I found out Collins is hurt.
so looking at it, I could see the Bills going into Denver winning. Denver, what, they won 11 games by one score this year. Like at some point,
Yeah,
that's going to go the other way. Denver's my number one team to not make the playoffs already next year because of that. That's not usually a stat you repeat. Um, so already I'm calling the Broncos as frauds. They're going to get beat today. They're going to win 2 games next year. I I th- I th- I think New England beats the Texans. The Texans defense is really fucking good. The offense last week was horrible. They got lucky that they played the Schittsburg and
Squealers. Yeah,
they played Schittsburg and they lived up to that name because the offense was just shit. It was liquid hot snake shit. Um, so it's
typical
yeah,
Tomlin playoff. Is that what you mean?
yeah, yeah. So, but I don't think you can blame Tomlin. He hasn't had a quarterback since Ben
No,
retired.
it's. Oh, I know.
Um, so so I would
I
say
just
next
thought it was
week
funny.
I'd say next week we're going to have the Patriots hosting the Bills in the AFC Championship game. NFC side, San Francisco is an impressive team, but they're fucking hurt. I don't know how they can walk into Seattle and win. I think Seattle wins that one pretty handily, let's be honest. And then with the Rams and the Bears, what's the temperature supposed to be at in Chicago tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon?
Fucking cold.
Yeah.
Fucking
I uh
cold.
I don't know how the Rams go into Chicago and win, to be honest with you. I just don't. Be playing there in Soldier Field or whatever the hell we call it now. Wind coming off the lake. It's not warm. It's not a LA friendly fucking day.
God, I love Midwest fucking temperatures. Frigid conditions at Soldier Field with temperatures near 2 degrees Fahrenheit and a real feel of minus 23.
Yeah, so I don't know if the Rams can survive that. The Bears, they got to play in one of those games already this year when the Browns visited Chicago. Fans losing toes and fingers in the stands from frostbite. Um, so yeah, I don't know how the Rams come into Chicago and win. So we'll see. I think we'll see the Bears at Seattle next weekend.
So I need an over and under for tomorrow night's Bears Rams game. Over and under number for the amount of people without shirts on.
Well, we'll go. How many are actually in the crowd, or how many we'll see on TV?
We'll go with how many. We'll start with how many you're going to see in the crowd because they'll pretty
Well,
much put most of them on TV.
yeah, we'll see a bunch of the idiots. They'll be smart if they're smart, and they'll cover themselves in Vaseline to try to keep the wind off because that kind of gives you a little bit of barrier from the cold. Um,
You
you
are an
know
expert on Vaseline,
those. Well, I'm no Diddy, uh, but did you?
but you could
It's
play for the Lakers. Got it.
it, yeah. Speaking of Diddy, did you see the hockey Diddy Bowl the other
I did
night? The
not.
Diddy Bowl. Yeah, it was the
I did
Edmonton
not.
Oilers. It was the Edmonton Oilers against the Nashville Predators. So they called it the Diddy Bowl.
Outstanding.
So
Outstanding.
I
So
I bet
you're
we'll,
over
I
and
bet
under
we'll
number, sir.
see we'll see 25 on TV because they'll display them. Um, because that's what
Now,
TV does.
25 different ones, or are they going to keep going back to the same people that have the Bears written on their
No,
chest? It's got to be
we're going
different people, not
we're going to
same
go
people.
we're going to go 25 different people because the thing is, those people are smart and they know they're not going to the crowd during the actual game. They're only going to the crowd like after punts and shit like that. So the rest of the time they'll be able to sit there in their fucking parkas and be warm. And then right after the punt, during the punt, they'll like take off their coat and then be like, "Oh, I got no shirt on. Oh yeah, I'm." So I'll go 25.
25 on the over and under. Are you going to sit there and count for me now?
Fuck
So
no.
we gotta see if it comes true.
That's that. Let's
I'll
be
try to
honest.
keep an eye out for you.
That's is that the tomorrow afternoon game or the tomorrow night game? I think it's the tomorrow night game, isn't it?
Tomorrow night game, yeah.
Yeah. So let's be honest. I'll be probably asleep by the second quarter because that's usually what I do on the Sunday night games. So my guess is
I'm a little disappointed because today should be the day that I get to sit there and watch the Bears and the Texans, but nope, they put them both on Sunday on a school night.
well, that's because they are, they let the number one seeds play on the Saturday. That way they have the extra day of rest going into next weekend's games. So
I call
uh
bullshit.
the team that it really fucking, I think got hosed is honestly the Texans having to play last Monday night. Um I don't like the Monday night playoff game. I think that's an unfair advantage for the team that they end up playing.
There's no need for it. I mean, there's
No.
open slots right now. They could have easily penciled them in on the weekend.
Yeah.
But
Although I love this weekend's time
when
slots.
you're
Saturdays tonight, it's like a 3:30 and a 7:30 game, kind of later. But tomorrow's is like an early afternoon and early evening. So
yeah, I think the night game starts at what 5 tomorrow.
yeah, I think so. I want to say yes, or maybe it's 6. I think it's 3 and 6. Um, and
Could be.
I like the fact that every network has one of these games. Um, so we'll get to see all games on every network, all the top commentators for these 4 games. Um, honestly, and I feel bad. I like Trico, but I can't stand listening to Collinsworth, so that one might be muted. That might be the mute game for me, where I just turn off the sound. I wish, you know, with that being ABC and ESPN, maybe they'll have a Manning caster in that game, and I can listen to the Manning
Manning
brothers.
caster.
Yeah, maybe I can listen to Manning cast instead of fucking Collinsworth, who I fucking can't stand Chris Collinsworth. If you actually sat me down and said, Wes, you have to hang out in a television booth with either Chris Collinsworth or fucking Joe Buck, man, fuck, I don't know how I make that decision. I think both of them are fucking blowhards. I think I've kind of appreciated Buck more as I've gotten older, but I still can't stand Joe Buck.
See, I've been told that he is a horrible caster, but he is a great person to have conversations with.
And I believe that. I think where my dislike for Joe Buck started all those years ago when the Vikings were playing the Green Bay in the playoffs and Randy Moss got that touchdown and he faked the moon to the Green Bay crowd, which is a very Green Bay crowd move to moon the team as they leave the facility after games. And for him to fake do the moon to the crowd and him be like, "That is a disgusting act." It was like so over the top. I think I was just like, "Fuck this guy, he's an idiot." Which maybe is a little
Well, he's
harsh
no
at
Troy
first.
Aikman.
Well, fuck. I think Troy Aikman's gotten better. I was kind of annoyed with Troy for a while. Like, I just think he was kind of. I think Troy kind of lost it. And I think
It didn't
Troy
matter
going to
what
ES.
game. Didn't matter
I
what
think Troy.
game you were watching. It was about the fucking Cowboys.
Yeah, and I think Troy. I think Troy's gotten a lot better the last 2 years since he moved to ESPN. I think that's been a good move for him. Uh, I can't stand Collinsworth. He's fucking annoying. Everything's about Mahomes, even when the Chiefs aren't playing. Oh, this play right here, that looks
Yeah,
exactly
so
like
like Aikman in
Mahomes.
Dallas. Yeah,
Well, and I think, like I said, I think Aikman's gotten better. I think he's grown past that, which is good.
we can
I
always
can't
put.
stand
I want to
Collinsworth.
see Aikman and Romo in the same booth.
That sounds fucking terrible. And Romo's kind of fucking jumped the shark, hasn't he? I mean, it just feels like I
I,
don't know. Romo's kind of jumped the shark. If you really
you're gonna
wanted
have
to
to break that reference down, sir.
jumping the shark, you don't know what jumping the shark means?
You, Never heard it before in my life.
Okay, well, I'll do you this.
I am today's years old when I finally heard it.
Okay, so when you do your podcast with Jerry Tuesday, you ask him if he knows what that means, and I bet he can explain it better than I can. And if he doesn't know it, then we'll come back next week and we'll come back to it.
You know, I have a Google monster next to me and a Gronk
Yeah,
that I can ask.
I'm giving you a free bet for Tuesday night. So, anyways, if you really wanted,
that's fine.
If someone really wanted
to plan for Monday,
if someone really wanted to torture me, you know what they would do is they would put me in a booth with fucking Joe Buck and Chris Collinsworth and Tony Romo and tell me I had to sit there with them and try to act like I didn't want to fucking kill them throughout the fucking deal. Because I guarantee I couldn't do it. You know, Fear Factor's back.
We'll put you on West Cam.
Yeah, Fear Factor's back with Johnny Knoxville. They're, dumping bugs on people and shit like that. No, they'd put me in a fucking television booth with those three motherfuckers, and I'd probably tap out. Be like, no, I'm done. No amount of money's worth this.
So speaking of Fear Factor coming back, Joe Rogan brought fucking Johnny Knoxville on his podcast last week, and they talked about Fear Factor and, what they got coming up and stuff like that. So it was kind of like the changing of the guard right there for a little bit. Joe Rogan to Knoxville. And Knoxville cannot get another concussion. Even though they're going to make another movie, he can't put himself into a position to get a concussion or it could kill him.
Well, it's half amazing he and most of the cast of Jackass, besides the ones that have passed away, have lasted as long as they have. It was hilarious seeing them get in a shopping cart and roll it down the hill and then go headfirst into a curb in my 20s. I laughed my ass off at that. But at the same time, it's like, how did you think that was going to fucking end well? Like, what part? I mean, really, that was just fucking stupid. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to have you get
the last concussion he got, he had a brain bleed. And,
easy for you to say.
He doesn't care if he breaks an arm and a leg or anything else. He just can't take a headshot anymore because of his brain bleed. There it is.
Well,
they got it out that time.
Was it Johnny Knoxville they put in a boxing match against Butterbean there 20 years ago? Like Butterbean just fucking destroyed him.
Yep.
They did a lot of.
And Rogan asked him about that, and he's like, "How bad did it hurt when you got hit?" He goes, "All the other shots hurt, but the one that knocked me out, I didn't feel. I just woke up and realized I was knocked out."
Yeah. It's, the stupid shit we watched when we were kids, right?
Yeah. Well, I got to throw out this stat real quick, and then I'm being summoned.
By the living girlfriend or the other girlfriend?
That I want, the Bears versus the Texans. No, by the aunt. She is telling me that I need to stop dilly-dallying and get on with it. So
come on, aunt.
Because they will be here at a certain time. Yes, I know. You can make sure you call her and tell her that she's being a little stickler on my birthday. But
your birthday's not till Monday.
The odds of me getting the Bears versus the Texans Super Bowl, the odds are around 65-1, about a 1.5% chance of that Super Bowl happening.
So if you had your dream, if your two NFL wives happen to meet in the Super Bowl, how do you choose?
Whoever's got the best fingernail polish.
All right.
Actually, it's a real simple thing, Wes. If the wives are playing each other, you side with the one winning.
I mean, like, I get the whole NFL Gumar, right? The team, like, if your team sucks, you get the Gumar. You feel good. You, like, don't hate your life because your NFL team sucks. I get that. I've lived that for 25 years now. But, like, if your team's good, you don't have a Gumar. You just enjoy your time with your wife.
So you're also the only person that should understand this. Is they took your team away.
They did.
And gave it to somebody else, right? But the difference is they immediately brought back a new team for you. So you stayed with the same team. They did not immediately bring back a new team for me. So I started watching the Bears. And then they finally bring back the Texans, but I'm already emotionally involved with the Bears, but I still
So
want to
that
be a fucking Houston fan.
so you're almost in the shoes of Tom Hanks' wife in Castaway, where she was in love with Tom Hanks, but they thought he was dead, and then she done fall in love with Wilson or Spalding, and then Tom Hanks comes back, and she's torn. But like, so you are no, it wasn't Meg
Yeah,
Ryan. Who the fuck
I'm
was
Helen
that?
Hunt.
Yes, you're Helen Hunt. Hi, I'm Wes Parker here with Helen Hunt today.
Exactly. Did you see? So there is one part of that on Castaway that
I'm
I have a
mad
problem
about
with.
you. I'm
How
mad about you.
how is Helen Hunt allowed to have the entire dining room table in a new marriage with maps looking for her old husband, her old boyfriend?
You know,
How would you even
think
how would you even marry somebody that you know is still hung up?
I so beings I am happily married. I couldn't foresee any future with anybody else. But at that time, I'm mid 40s, all right? I'm midlife. I'm midlife at this point. She was a lot younger. So like she still had a future in front of her. She wasn't a parent. Like she still had a future ahead of her. So like I would think you would still want to like, potentially fill that portion of your life with something, even though you were deeply in love with the one that you lost or thought you lost. Where now I'm like half old, so like I wouldn't want to feel that. You know what I mean? I think that's the
You would never
difference in
remarry
age.
right now. So
No, fuck no. No. I couldn't. I would be a miserable lump. We would no longer do the show. I would work and I would come home and I would sit in a dark cave and probably drink entirely way too much alcohol.
yeah, well, like what I'm saying is she had a whole fucking room dedicated to the boyfriend. I don't know how she got a husband because you always know that you're not the one that she actually loves. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't.
I don't know either.
I couldn't have done it.
I Yeah, I have no idea.
She never actually moved on. So
Yeah, I don't know. I guess you just blew up that movie for me. Thank you. Never have to watch that again. Make good things miserable.
all right. So go ahead and give me a happy ending since I can't hear you anymore. Go ahead and wrap it up, and when you're done talking, we'll call her a day.
Kobe, I'm never giving you a happy ending. Ever. That
You
said,
need to give me a happy ending.
enjoy hearing what jumping the shark means from Jerry this week. I can't believe you don't know what the fuck that is. I'm so disappointed in you. And Frosty fucking Dinghy out.
All right. Since I know I'm going to have to cut that entire ending out, thank you for another great show here at the Frosty Dinghy. We got the Flounder over there, probably saying derogatory things about me like normal. And don't forget, remember the little finger. Don't forget the follow and the like button on Spotify and YouTube. And we will see you next time. It's called Frosty Dinghy, and I'm the dolphin, and you're the flounder.
Well, I guess I think it should be